StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, you cannot have it all. I know somebody told you can have it all. I know you have visions of working hard and grinding and striving and strategizing and planning until you are in a position to where you get to have it all. I'm here to let you know that you cannot have it all. You will not have it all. And as a matter of fact, I will go even further, and I'm going to explain all of this here today. It is impossible for you to have it all. Yes, it is impossible for you to have it all. Now, depending on who you listen to and what you peruse on social media, you may have come to believe that there are some people out there who have actually solved this riddle. You may right now be disagreeing with me in your mind subconsciously. Dre, you're wrong. It is possible to have it all because I saw this guy over there. He has it all. I saw this girl. She has it all. I saw this formula, this course, this program that says if you follow these steps, you can and will have it all in life. These people seem to be in good shape. They seem to be making good money. Seems like their family's happy. They're smashing it career-wise. Every time you see their picture on Instagram, they are smiling and the sun is shining and the car is clean. According to what they are showing you, they are not missing anything. Everything is right in place where it needs to be. Maybe not perfect, but they got it all. I am here today to tell you in today's episode that is bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on any of it that you may have been fooled into believing. I don't know if there's any person out there that's telling you that they have it all. If they are, they're lying to you. And if someone is showing you some image that makes it seem as if they have it all, first of all, you should notice that the dog's not barking, i.e. they're not telling you that they have it all. There are things they're not telling you. And secondly, just because someone's image of what they're showing you, everything looks good, doesn't mean that's how it actually is. And it is impossible, as I already said, impossible for anyone, regardless of who they are, to have it all. So let's get into it. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is you cannot have it all. Number one, what is the third law of economics? This was episode number, I keep forgetting the number of this episode, but let me refer back to it again. I think it was 3261, but let me see if I got that right. It is episode number, 3261. I'm starting to remember it. Third law of economics is that there are no free lunches. What does that mean? That means that there is no way you can get something without giving something up. Everything has a cost. Another term for no free lunches is opportunity costs. Another one is trade-offs. They all mean the same thing. Anything that you get in life, there is a cost for it, and there is nothing that is free other than the standard equipment you were born with, i.e. your fingers and your toes and your brain and your thoughts. Those things come free, but everything else, there's a cost. And everything you do, every action that you take with that standard equipment, there is a cost for those actions. So there is no amount of hustle, motivation, resources, or skill set that allows any of us to circumvent scientific laws of the universe. This one is the third law of economics, as I've explained, but this is also a scientific law, is that you can't get something for nothing. It happens to apply to economics, but it applies to everything else as well. Everything acquired incurs a cost. Everything acquired incurs a cost. If you don't know the cost of something, that does not mean there is no cost. For you to have everything in life, you have to give up something, at which point you no longer have everything by definition. Did you catch that? Was that a brain teaser? Let me say it again. For you to have everything, first of all, how do you get everything? Well, you got to give up a whole lot of everything in order to get everything. So as soon as you give up a bunch of things to have quote unquote everything, you no longer have everything. So the whole concept of having everything is a misnomer because it's impossible. Scientifically, it is impossible to have it all, because to have it all, you got to give up something. And if you give up anything, then technically you don't have it all. You get it? It is impossible to have it all. Okay? Now, I understand that this concept of having everything and everything having a cost, that You can never have everything perfect all at the same time. All right, this is what I want you to understand. Now, I'm not saying I understand. I want you to understand it. Everything having a cost means it's impossible to have everything perfect all at the same time. It is not possible. Anybody you see who has everything perfect, or at least from what you see on their social medias, it looks like or sounds like from what they say, everything is perfect and everything is good and everything is in amazing shape. First of all, I'll cut them a little bit of slack. I'm a marketer myself. I'm a salesperson myself. I understand the game. I understand the hustle. Some people pour it on a little bit thicker than others, but sometimes if you're trying to sell something to people, you have to sell them the perfection. You have to sell them the image of perfection, because that's what gets people drawn in. All right, you draw people in by playing on their emotions and selling them this image of you being perfect. And if they just follow along with what you're doing or buy what you're selling, then they could possibly have things perfect as well. All right, that is a sales pitch. It's marketing. It's logically speaking, it's a lie, but I understand as a marketer myself, when I put my marketing hat on, I understand why they're doing it. I'm not even knocking them for doing it. I'm just telling you that logically this is impossible. And I just tend to be a very logical person. So this is why I'm explaining this to you. And at the same time, some people tend to oversell this image of perfection. And what happens when you oversell the image of perfection, depending on who you sell it to, depending on whom your customer is that they can get really pissed off at you because you sold them something that ended up not being true. So you got to be careful who you're selling to. You got to be careful what you're selling. You got to be careful how you package and present it, because you run the risk of pissing a whole lot of people off when they realize that the magic elixir that you sold them is just flavored water. You got to be careful. Okay. So having everything at the same time, all perfect, can't happen. All of you understand the 80-20 principle. Right? Is anybody here unfamiliar with the 80-20 principle? I explained to you the other part of the 80-20 rule back in episode number 3126. I told you the 80-20 rule applied to people in episode 3103. I explained the 80-20 rule, how it applies to people and ambition, in episode number 2180 and 2181. And I told you back in episode 330 how to put the 80-20 principle to work. 80-20 principle states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your inputs, and 80% of your inputs produce only 20% of your results. Another way of looking at this principle is understanding that you will never have more than 80% of what you want, what you consider to be perfection. Only 80% of that at any point ever in your life will you actually have. You will never have 100% of perfection. So if you were to write down in detail everything that will make your life perfect, you will never have 100% of that all at the same time. The most you will ever get, if you do everything as well as you could, most you'll ever get is having 80% of that list with all the boxes checked. The other 20% will never be all checked at the same time. If you check even one thing off that final 20%, you must uncheck something off the 80% that you already had. Why? Scientific law. It's 80-20 principle. Now, you cannot circumvent the 80-20 principle. Does everybody hear this? You cannot circumvent the 80-20 principle. There will always be at least 20% that you don't have. What makes life perfect for anyone? Whenever you hear somebody talking about life being perfect, my life is perfect. Maybe some of you listening to this right now, you think your current situation is perfect, or you're about 1 or 2 steps away from your current situation being perfect. Let me tell you what you actually mean when you say it's perfect, or when you hear somebody else say their situation is perfect. What it means is you are happy and content with the 80% of perfection that you have, and you are not anxious, worried, concerned, or disappointed about the 20% that you do not have. That's what perfection actually means. So when a human being says everything is perfect and everything is good, that's what they mean. Like right now, if you were to ask me how I'm feeling about my life, is my life perfect? If I was to tell you it was perfect, I would not give that answer, but let's just say that I did. If I gave the answer that life is perfect, this is what I mean. I mean that of all the things that I want to be in place, 80% of them are in place, and the 20% that I do not have out of that perfection, I'm not anxious, worried, concerned, or disappointed about the fact that I don't have it. Therefore, I'm able to overlook it, focus on 80% that I do have, and that allows me to be happy, to the point that I would even use the word perfection to describe my life. I would not use that word, but I'm just saying hypothetically if I was. That's what it means. Happiness, ladies and gentlemen, does not mean everything is perfect. Happiness means you are content and satisfied with what you do have, and you are not anxious or worried about what you don't have. And I would suggest all of you start focusing on that version of happiness, if you want to call it that. I'm a person who doesn't even focus on happiness. I never ask myself, do I feel happy? I'm not even angling for happiness, but if that's what you want to do, all right, I'm not knocking you if you want to do it. I think I talked about this before. And when did I last talk about happiness? I talked about happiness in episode 2500, but that's not the type of happy I'm talking about. And I don't know, maybe I'll do a full episode on why I'm not even a fan of especially for males in Western society. Women, I will allow, but for men, it's not really our angle to be happy. Our angle is to be productive, effective, efficient, and to produce, to make things easy for the women and the children so that they can be happy. That's a man's responsibility as far as I'm concerned. I thought I may have talked about that already, but I probably will do an episode on it. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I already did. Let me see. It was, no, yes, I did talk about it. Episode 3012. I thought I talked about this. See, I know that I talked about this. So episode 3012, the title is Happiness is Not the Goal. It's because I was looking at happy instead of happiness. Happiness is not the goal. Again, episode 3012, you want to learn more about that and what I mean by this. So in order for you to get to contentment, let's just call it that, contentment or satisfaction, if you're not apt to use the word happy like me, then that means being satisfied with the 80, not worried about the 20, but you're still going to work every day because you're trying to fix that 20. And this is all with the caveat of your understanding that no matter how hard you work, you'll never get it to 100, but you keep doing it anyway. I remember Kobe Bryant would say that as a basketball player, he was chasing perfection. And he knows that there's no such thing as playing a perfect basketball game. But the fact that he knows he can't get there is what makes it fun to keep trying. Now, some people look at it in a nihilistic way, like, oh man, I can never get to a perfect life. Well, what's the purpose of even trying to fix the life that I got? It's the pursuit that is the fun of it. The fun is the pursuit. The fun is going after it, even though you know logically you can never catch it. Now, some people look at that and say, well, I might as well just give up now. And other people look at it and say, okay, where do we start? Let's start running. I would suggest you be the second person. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is that you cannot and will not ever have it all. Number 2, anyone who appears to have everything is either doing a good job of maintaining an image, as we've discussed, or there are opportunity costs to that everything that you simply don't know about, and they either haven't shared, or you haven't heard them talk about it, or they don't even know. Or you just don't have a discerning enough eye to notice what they are not telling you, but it is obvious. As I already told you on the first point, nobody has everything. Nobody has everything in place. Nobody has it all together. Nobody has all their shit in order. Nobody is perfect. Nobody's living a perfect life or a perfect situation. Now, here's where I will give the ladies credit. When I listen to, and I've listened to, and I know, and I have heard, and I've talked to a whole lot of influencers, people in similar space to mine, to where you have an audience and people are listening to you, and they will gather, whether online or offline, to listen to what you say because they look at you as someone who has the answers, or you have insights, or you have ideas, and or you have experience and accomplishments in certain areas of life. Those are the influencers. Here's where I'll give the ladies credit over the men. That it is much more likely you will hear a woman stand on a stage or get on a microphone in front of an audience and admit that, yes, even though I have all these great things and I have all these people who look up to me and listen to me and subscribe to me and buy from me and follow me, nobody has it all together, including myself. Usually you're more likely to hear a woman say that than you are to hear a man say it. But it's 100% true for both women and men. I think women are more apt to say this because women are more apt to be emotionally vulnerable in front of an audience of people than a man is. Men are more likely to hold the masculine frame with the testosterone flowing and just showing the men, hey, get your shit together, do your shit. We ain't got time for this soft shit, this emotional shit, this feelings shit. Let's just get to doing our shit. All right, I'm much more in that direction than I am the direction of none of us has it all together. And the reality is none of us has it all together. Not all at the same time. That we've all had each part together at some point. We never had them all together all at the exact same time. Something I've also told people is that if you're ever in a situation in your life where you have this moment of serendipity, you're outside in the park with your kids and your dog, and the sun is shining and the birds are chirping, and you got a bunch of money in the bank, and you just ate lunch, and everything is feeling good and looking good and flowing good, and you just have this moment of feeling, wow, everything's perfect right now. Just keep living, and about 2 minutes later, you're going to realize everything ain't perfect, because something that's not perfect in your life, you're going to be reminded of, oh shit, no, it's not. I forgot about that. Forgot about that thing I got to take care of. Forgot about these bills I got to pay. Forgot about that problem that I haven't addressed yet. Oh, life was perfect for that 5 seconds when I was thinking about it, but it actually isn't now that I remember. That's how life actually is, and it's always going to be like that, everybody. It's always going to be like that. It will never end until you stop trying. Now, you stop trying, then it won't be like that. But anybody who appears to have it all, they're either, again, doing a good job of maintaining an image, and there are many who are very good at this. There are opportunity costs that you don't know about, or they haven't told you, or you haven't heard they did tell you, but you weren't listening, or you just don't see them. But I guarantee you there is a cost. Again, There's a scientific law, there's an economic law as well, is that everything has a cost. Cost means you got to give it up in order to get something else. There is no human on the planet for whom there is an exception to this point. Zero. Social media has created an outlet through which anyone can present, if they so choose and if they're able to pull it off, an image of a lifestyle in which everything is great, easy, fun, and even the struggle sounds motivational. All right, I would put myself a little bit into that group. I'm not 100% like that, but I'm pretty good at it. I don't feel motivated and excited and locked in and let's just use those terms every time that I get on a microphone, or every time I get on a camera, or every time I publish something. I don't feel like that every single time. Absolutely not. But I still get the job done, and I can take whatever I'm communicating and make it sound strong enough that if you read it or heard it or watched it or saw it, it would make you feel engaged in the moment, even though I might not have felt that engaged when I did it. Anyone, again, through social media, through editing, through filters, you can make everything look perfect if you want to. It's pretty easy these days. Okay, many influencers, including myself, again, could be labeled guilty of this, as I already said. The fact of the matter is, however, that anything you see in another person, if it is indeed real, it costs something. Again, just because you don't know about it doesn't mean it didn't pay. That doesn't mean that whatever that person has or is doing is necessarily wrong. It's just a matter of you asking yourself, would you be willing to pay the same cost that they paid in order to get what they have? If you are willing, then you can have the same thing they have. If you are not willing, then maybe what you are unwilling to give up may be more valuable to you than it was to the other person. This is why life is made up of choices. One of the reasons why, if you see a man who's in great physical shape, even as he ages, especially past the age of 30, is because he has paid the cost of consistently going to the gym and working out and watching what he puts in his body, despite the fact that that ain't always easy. Sometimes we don't feel like it. Sometimes the metabolism starts to slow down, especially if you have a family, you have kids. It's very hard to keep up that kind of working out routine because your energy isn't the same and you're not getting the same rest, especially when your kids are very young. And in order to maintain that physicality, you got to be very disciplined, because there will be times you ain't motivated to do it. There are many days I ain't motivated to go to the gym or go outside and run, or I just don't have the energy because I wasn't able to complete my sleep or get a full night of sleep like I was before I had kids, and I still go out there and do it. Why? Because I'm willing to pay that cost, because what I get back in exchange for that cost is more valuable to me than what I had to give up, which is the rest. Now, for other people, it's a different equation. You want the rest more than you want the six pack, so you'll take the rest. But there's another aspect in life in which you are not willing to sacrifice, and you pay that cost. But every one of us makes a payment somewhere, somehow, some way. That's what I want you to understand. So it's a matter of you asking yourself, what are you willing to give up in order to get what you want? That's it. What are you willing to give up in order to get what you want? And then once you get to the point of having, quote unquote, it all, like it seems like some people have it all. One of the trade-offs I can tell you of having it all is that now a bunch of people know who you are. If you really have it all, a bunch of people will know who you are. If a bunch of people know who you are, some of those people will have some negative intentions when it comes to using what they know about you. And when you have it all, especially if you're putting it out there on the internet for people to know about, there's going to be some people who come after you just because you have it and because you told them that you have it. Human nature. This is the way it works. So understand, there's no cost you can avoid. You could pay one cost, you can pay the other cost. You just got to decide which cost you want to pay. So if you are willing to pay the same cost that someone else paid to have what they have, then you can have it too. That's it. Number 3. Today's topic, once again, actually, one more thing on number 2. This is why life is made up of choices. Life is about the choices that you take. Okay, I want to have this, this, and this. Okay, well, this is what you got to pay in order to get it. You willing to pay that? Yes? Okay, you can have it. You're not willing to pay it, you can't have it. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is you cannot have it all. Number 3. What you actually need to think about is what you want the most, and then ask yourself, what are you willing to give up in order to get that or to get those things? What do you want the most? Now, we just talked about what do you want. Now we're talking about what you want the most. Let me help you out with this. Give you a simple way to do it. It was either Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. I don't know who, but different people are credited with this exercise. It doesn't really matter who it was, but we'll just call this the 5 things exercise. It's actually pretty simple. Write down on a piece of paper the 25 things you most want in your life. 1 through 25. It doesn't have to be in any particular order, but there shouldn't be more than 25. Write down 25 outcomes, 25 things you want to have, achieve, do, be, etc. in life, but only 25 total. 25. Once you have those 25 written down, then circle the top 5. If you had to pick just the top 5 out of that list of 25, circle the top 5. Then for the rest of your life, only focus on the 5 and ignore the other 20. That's it. There's no punchline to it. That's it. I gave you the whole exercise right there. Write down the 25 things you most want in life. Pick out the top 5 out of that 25 and then just focus on the 5 and ignore the rest. What does that mean? What is that an example of? That's an example of cutting off your options. And that's what a decision means. The word decide comes from a Latin word meaning decidere. Decidere means to cut off. Literally, it means to cut off. Decisions mean cutting off options, not adding options. Many human beings make the mistake of continually trying to add to their options rather than cutting off options. This is the reason why many people are indecisive, because they have too many options. And the reason why Napoleon Hill in The Law of Success, also Think and Grow Rich, he listed the 31 major causes of failure. You know what number one was? Indecision. Number one cause of failure is indecision, because people have too many options. In the world we live in today, we're getting offered more and more options every single day. That's why you get more and more unsuccessful people, even though we allegedly have made life as easy as possible, because all we've done is created a new paradox, which is now because we have all these options and everything's supposed to be so easy, I don't know where to start. Indecision. The entire exercise is to pick the top 5 things and only do those. That's what I mean when I say you can't have it all. Because having it all means you do all 25. You get it? Having it all means you do all 25. But instead, you're only doing 5 out of 25. When you only do 5 out of 25, well, what am I giving you there? The 80-20 principle. Did you catch it? 5 out of 20 is what? 20%. That's going to produce what? 80% of what you want. All right, these are not coincidences, folks. These are not coincidences. Again, I didn't make up that exercise. That came from Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, one of them. Doesn't matter who. I already told you about the 80-20 principle before. Me and Warren and me and Bill Gates and not have a conversation about making these fit. This is what I mean when I say you can't have it all. All right. Even the people who I've mentioned in this episode who are publicly noted for their success, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Beyonce, LeBron James, they understand this too. And this is why you know those people for a few things. What do you know Warren Buffett for? What's he known for? Investing. What's Bill Gates known for? Computer technology. What's Beyonce known for? Singing and dancing. What's LeBron James known for? Basketball. Not 25 things. They're known for one thing. Most of them are known for one thing. And then from that one, they got everything else that they wanted. They're able to get all the other things because the one golden goose is being taken care of. My question to you is, what's your golden goose? And if you have more than one golden goose, you shouldn't have more than 5. I just told you. You need to accept this. Do not be fooled by anyone trying to tell you or trying to present to you or present themselves as if they've gone around this, they circumvented this. That is scientifically impossible. No one has, no one ever will, including you and including me. Let's recap today's class, which is you cannot have it all. Again, depending on who you listen to, what you look at on social media, some people are trying to show you that they have it all. They do not. They're lying to you, or you're just being fooled. Point number 1. Third law of economics is there are no free lunches, aka opportunity costs, aka trade-offs. Nothing is free. Everything you get in life, there is a cost to be paid for it. Just because you don't know about the cost doesn't mean there is not a cost. 80-20 principle. 80% of your results come from 20% of your inputs. There is no principle for 100-0. All right, it doesn't happen. Number 2, anyone who appears to have everything is either doing a great job of maintaining an image, or there's a cost that you don't know about, or you simply don't have a discerning enough eye to see what the cost is because you just don't know what you don't know. But it's not because they're lying to you. Sometimes they're lying to you, but oftentimes they're not. They're just not telling you something. They're lying by omission, if you want to call it that. But really, it's your lack of discernment that's the big problem. It's not what they're doing, it's what you're doing. And you just got to ask yourself, are you willing to pay the cost to get what other people have? Number 3, what you actually need to think about is what you want the most, and then ask yourself what you're willing to give up in order to get it. And I told you exactly what. I told you I answered both of these questions. Write down 25 things you want most, circle the top 5, and in exchange for those 20 that you're willing to give up, that's the cost, you can go get the 5. But you got to be willing to give up the 20 in order to get the 5. The problem most people have is that they don't want to give up the 20 to get the 5, so they try to pursue all 25. The problem is you ain't that good to pursue all 25 things at the same time within a lifespan that you have available, and this is the reason why many people die of indecision. You don't die of lack of talent, skills, opportunity, or time. You die of indecision because you're trying to do too many things at the same time. You ain't that good. Pick 5, focus on them. 80-20 principle is a principle for a reason. All that said, everybody, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You want me to be your coach, and let's 80-20 what you're doing, 80-20 your business, 80-20 your personal life, 80-20 your mindset. Have me as your direct coach all along the way. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all